Hello Fly Nation and welcome to the Freestyle Your Life podcast, the one and only podcast inspiring you to live your authentic greatness while teaching you that less is more. I'm your host, Erneste Kaller-Zimmermann, and I'm on my mission to help you to be the hero you were meant to be and to live what you came for in life and in business. Remember, the quest we came here for is to discover our true nature, explore our potential and share it by living. So, Hello Fly Nation. Today, Allan Knight is with me, and he developed from being a Zen master to a great community coach. So he will share something about how this transformation took place. And I have three so interesting topics to discuss with you. Of course, we cannot do all three in one show here, but maybe you want to come back. So today we explore the Soulmate Revolution that you set up. So it's the company is named Soulmate Revolution. The website is .com. So you will share more about that, and we see that in the background on the banner there. That's great. And happy to find out about the 9 steps you discovered there and the system. So I always love to talk in stories and in examples. And I myself, I'm not looking or searching, but I would be ready for the right perfect man to come. And I'm sure I can learn a lot today, even for my own purpose. So just go ahead. It's your stage to share whatever you want and could be helpful.
So this is my dating service that I'm applying to you today. Is that it?
Yes, I'm very interested to learn more. Yeah, because of course, plenty of people, and that's sort of exploding, are looking for partners online, right? On dating platforms. And I did in 5-6 years ago after I divorced from the father of my 2 sons. And but I'm not right into it because there's a lot of fake going on there, fake profiles and some of them, let's face it, let's put it like that, just interested in one thing. And so I'm looking for somebody I can spend my life with, right? So my sons are 19 and 21, and one, you're in Vancouver, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and my son last year in April, so 1 year ago now, took off to Vancouver, and he is in Whistler now in the ski area. He loves to ski, and he's working there. And once he's off his shift at the Hilton, he's just on the mountain and skiing. So he loves skiing. So normally after 1 year, he was supposed to come back, but he told me, "Mom, no, I love Canada so much, and especially this area there, Vancouver and Whistler, and I'm staying." So soon I have to come and to visit my son, and I will have a glass of wine or whatever.
For sure.
And more and more people try to find a appropriate partner online, but it's still different. So when I hear girlfriends or whatever, most of them, they have bad experiences. Like the guy's not showing up, whatever. They are married, but they don't tell up front, whatever. So how can we avoid that? If we are looking for a real man to spend a life with, and real love, and not to want to come into the fake play.
So you said a lot. Do you want to? But by the way, before we begin, Ernest, I should qualify what you said. I wasn't a Zen master. I was a Zen monk.
I'm sorry, I spelled it the wrong way. Yeah.
I just don't want to make people feel that I promoted myself as a Zen master.
No, 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 no. That was me, but I think it's totally okay because you worked a lot on that. Yeah, but you call yourself Zen monk, and you did the whole transformation to a great communication coach.
Right.
Sorry for that.
So,
but I'm still German, and sometimes I just have the wrong.
No problem. Where do we start? What maybe you could ask me, where do you want me to start? What would be your specific question?
Whatever could be helpful, Allan. Whatever could be helpful in the on the topic to find the real soulmate.
Okay, I got it. I think the way for me to start is that I have been a coach for over 30 years now. It's only recently that I've launched what I call the Soulmate Revolution. But when I was 19 years old, at a very young age, I always had a passion for soulmates and dating. And I always felt at some point I wanted to do something that would bring a little chivalry back, a little courtship back, something from the old days, and bring it into the modern day, because it bothered me that a lot of people were not taking the time to develop their emotional intimacy before their physical intimacy. Yes. And I'll never forget reading a book or some section from Kubler-Ross, who said, you know, if you want to attract a casual relationship or a dysfunctional relationship, it's very easy. They're all over the place. But if you want to attract a high quality relationship, a soulmate level relationship, you better work on yourself to prepare. And my whole modus operandi before I started to develop my training program was my thesis at McGill University was the quality of relationships with others begins with the quality of relationship we have with ourselves. And that's the essence of everything I teach. And when it comes to the Soulmate Revolution, everything starts with the inner soulmate first. If we don't raise the bar in the relationship, even if we have a spiritual bent, even if we've done a lot of work on our personal development, I find that a lot of people still have things that are holding them back from projecting this vibration and energy in order to attract. And we might meet someone online, but actually what's more important is that when we're accepting, respecting, and loving ourselves and achieve a great level of inner freedom where we don't have the need so much to find somebody.
Yes.
Somebody shows up. So my focus when I coach people is to help them tap into their inner soulmate to such a level where they know that it's coming sooner or later, and it will come just organically, and we don't even have to try so much. That's the essence of what I coach and train people in.
Right, and that's we are totally on the same line here, because I have the same belief. If we don't bring the effort to come in peace and love with ourselves, each and everyone, then how can we suspect the partner to love us, right? If we don't manage to do it.
Right. But that's exactly right. And when I started off in the coaching industry, the challenge I faced was that there was a lot of training and coaching, and it's all good. I'm not here to criticize anything, but a lot of people would be coming to me and I would say, how much work have you done on your own personal development? And many of them would say, I said, what did you do? I've read tons of books. I've gone to rah-rah seminars. And then when I did my assessment and evaluation, many of them were still procrastinators. Many of them still had emotional, psychological patterns that were holding them back. Their minds were too busy and hyperactive. They had fear of rejection, codependent relationships, and the list goes on. And this is after years and years of personal development. So at one point, the light bulb went on, and it was like this, Ernest. If you're a physical fitness trainer and I'm 100 pounds overweight in terrible shape, and if I come to you and hire you as my physical fitness coach, I don't think you have me just read books or go to rah-rah seminars.
Yeah.
You get me in the gymnasium and I work out 2, 3, 4 times a week, and in 6 months I'm going to be in good shape. So I realized if that's true for physical fitness, the same should be true for inner and verbal communication fitness.
Yeah.
And that's what led me to create the 9-step training system, which is practical and transformational, not just theoretical.
Right. I totally agree, Alan. And it's so fantastic you bring it up, because this is really the foundation of all, right? So every other thing to start in the back is not working, because we are always, as you name it, yeah, we show up needy, right? So yeah, and the frequency and the vibration shows we are needy. We're running from one place to the other, right, to find somebody, and like this, we will not find the right one. Maybe some, right, but not the. So for my example, I would love to find the soulmate I could share my pleasure and my love for golfing, right? And yeah, I should be able to discuss some things like we do here, right? So mustn't be doing business at all together, but yeah, I don't want to be on the football, soccer field all weekend, and I don't want to stick behind the TV, because this is just not interesting for me, right? So this all has, maybe I might be a bit picky, yes, but
you should be picky.
I need, yeah, I want everything to be a good fit, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I'm perfectly on my own, and I prioritize my business here first. So I'm not on the run all weekend. I'd rather prefer to have a lovely interview with you here, but I'm ready and open and prepared once the right one comes by, right? But that mustn't be somebody for just going out. Right? So,
well, what you're looking for, like a lot of people, is that they're tired of their ordinary relationships. They want truly conscious, heart-centered relationships. But what I have found, just to follow up what you were saying, is that many people say they want love. I'm not talking about you per se, but many people say they want love, but what they're really looking for is mommy and daddy in a younger body. Many of us we didn't get the love and respect that we did. So we still have that need to be loved and respected. That's why you see many people come together and they fall in love and they get into the spiritual realm for a while and they lose their egos and they feel great. And then then the shit hits the fan, when life gets in the way and the fears come up and the control and the manipulation and the insecurity and the jealousy starts to come up. The only way we can have a really ongoing great level of relationship is if I get rid of enough negativity in my life and I truly unconditionally love myself, then I'm walking around loving. I'm not trying to manipulate. If I meet you and we have a good time together and then I find out that you're not interested in me, well, maybe I'll feel a little sad for a day or two or a week or an hour. And I say, well, if she doesn't like me, someone else will. I like me, so I pick myself up by the bootstraps and go on.
Yes.
The trouble is that most people haven't done enough work on the inner mastery to attract that. And like some people might be like you, I don't know you well enough, but some people really are ready. They just haven't put themselves out there, and they need to be more open to meet people. But most people have some subtle things that are still holding them back. And that vibration is keeping. And even if they met their soulmate, many times soulmates come together, and if they're not ready, the one will run and one will chase. And that happens all the time, so you need to be ready. And that's why I'm very grateful to where I'm at. I've had some different soulmates into my life. I had my twin soul who passed away over a decade ago. And I've been very blessed with different soulmates that have taught me a lot of lessons. But now I realize that the greatest soulmate is inside us. we got to tap into that one first.
Yes. So how do we approach that adventure?
Well, how I approach it from a training point of view is I have a 9-step formula. The first 7 steps have to do with empowering yourself. Step 8 and 9 is mastering your communication skills, because obviously we're communicating all the time. But if we master the first 7 steps to a high level, I believe that communication with other people, 80 to 85% of it comes from the inside out. It oozes from the inside out. So my first 7 steps have to do with going in, clearing negativity from the past. Step number 2, forgiving yourself for being so hard on yourself. Because even if you have forgiven other people, most people are still way too self-critical and hard on themselves. Yeah. So I have certain exercises to zap the past and let go a lot of that negativity. Number 3 is about crystallizing your vision. So you build your vision muscles and get clear on who you are, and create what's called an impact visioning process, so that you have an attitude, nothing is going to get me off track from living that dream lifestyle. So step 1, 2, and 3 are relatively easy peasy. Within 7 to 10 days, it's done. The harder work is in 4, 5, and 6. 4 I call unleashing your inner warrior, creating the mental part, the emotional, the spiritual strength that you need to live that dream lifestyle. 5 is taking action with an accountability system, a success partner, a prioritization exercise. So 4 and 5, inner, outer lifestyle. Inner 4, outer 5 builds your personal power. And then 6 is what we call busting through the barriers, because you and I, Ernest, know we're always going to have obstacles and challenges. So I teach people some self-mastery exercises where they pick themselves up by the bootstraps quicker and quicker to get back in the Zen zone, back in the superhighway of life. And when they get to the high level of self-mastery, that's when the magic begins. And number 7 is called the true power to manifest. That's where we could truly manifest 1,000-fold. And one of the things that I have an issue with a lot of motivational speakers, they're all great, so I'm not criticizing them, but a lot of them say, just believe in the law of attraction, positive thinking. Well, if I want to go up the Himalayan mountains, I better be in shape to go up to Himalayan mountains.
Exactly.
But a lot of us are not ready to manifest at a high level. So that's why I kept it to number 7. So 1 to 7 is about empowering yourself. And then 8 is about mastering your communication, etc.
Right. And that's why plenty of people really get frustrated, right, with the law of attraction, because they just say, well, it might work for somebody, but just not for me, right? This is a big disappointment that I realized there, because first, like you just explained, they are not in the position to attract the right things yet, as they didn't do the inner work first, which is the foundation of all. And second, they just don't know how to manifest things, or even what they look for, what they want, right?
Exactly.
So how can you manifest the right thing for you if you just don't know what you're looking for, right? And didn't discover, so plenty of people, they need to discover themselves first in their root version, right? So we have to forget and let go of all the things that came into our way in by living life, and which are not supporting us, right? Like you did in your young time, when losing your parents and with your I will name it overachieving brother, like I found out in preparing for the interview. So that is just fantastic how you turn things around.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our challenges. We all have our different backgrounds. And mine, being brought up with an older brother who was Mr. Everything, I had a lot of insecurity. But that I use that later to learn how to overcome that insecurity. So I'm very grateful that I had that experience. So either we take charge and take responsibility for transforming ourselves, or we end up blaming the past forever, and that's not going to help us.
Right. Nobody, not us, not nobody, and yeah, but to take responsibility for whatever happens, right? It's sort of embracing what sucks, and most people don't quite like it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just like it is. There is no, we for my impression, we need to get off this judgment and manipulating thing in there, right? So
well, the problem is
like they are. If it's raining, it's raining.
Yeah.
If I get angry, if I blame it, if I get scared, whatever, it will be still raining. So that is nothing I can do about. So if I end up in anxiety or whatever, it will be like it is. It is like it is. So it's not helpful to get upset over things that we cannot influence.
Right.
The weather is like it is.
You're absolutely right. The trouble is that many of us want to be more right than want to be free. We want to justify why what happened before is really affecting us, and we have reason to be affected. Sure, we have reason, but at some time we have to just get fed up. A lot of people are not fed up enough. Some people ask me, what is number one important thing in self-development? And sometimes I'll say, get fed up with mediocrity, get fed up with not living your life fully, and stop blaming others and take charge of yourself. And if you do that, things are going to, be a lot easier, and your life will unfold the way you truly want it, because you'll be in harmony, not in contrariness to the world around you.
Right. So glad you're bringing this up, Allan, because this is just the fact, right? If so, I had a lot of health problems because if I'm not listening to my soul, right? I always feel like she says, well, body, then it's your turn to tell her, right? So that's how it works with me. And so I get more and more symptoms and everything. And just because I didn't pay attention on my needs before, right?
Absolutely.
So, but this is, of course, not done overnight, as you mentioned. It's a process, and I had to transform over and over and over, which included to leave my now ex-husband and the father of my two sons, which was not easy. Of course, I had the children with him, and we had the company together, and everything difficult. And but still, I had to do it to self myself.
Well, I think that what you just said about the process, we all have our journey and our process. What I've done is to provide a system that will help speed up the process to some degree. In other words, a lot of people, what they're doing is they're taking bits and pieces. I'm going to do some affirmations here. I'll do some rebirthing here. I'll do massage here. I'll do yoga there. And it's all wonderful. But what I've done with the 9 steps, it's like a multiple vitamin that has all the working parts, from your mind to your emotion, to your intuition, to your action, to your communication. And the beautiful thing is that once you go through it and master it to some degree, it's like a self-coaching system for life. So when you get off track, you know exactly what to do to pick yourself back on track. A lot of motivational speakers won't like me for that, because they won't even need me, because my interest is to help people grow, not that they depend on me to sign up for courses for the rest of their lives. You know, so it's a system that at some point, very quickly, within 60 to 90 days, they can get to a fairly high level of inner peace, inner confidence, and communication mastery. And then from that point on, they can coach themselves. If they need other training, so be it. That's wonderful. But I wanted to really create something that was fast track the process and give people a self-coaching system for life. That was my whole point in doing this.
Yeah, Alan, that's what I love so much about you, because we are totally on one line there. We don't want people to be dependent on us with the system and another system like most of the coaches implement it, but we, especially both of us, we give a system that people can do, of course, with our guidance and with the accountability part in there. And once they have gone through that, they are the self-expert. That's why I name it self-expert on in the Freestyle Your Life process, right? So they learn to implement the steps that I found out in really the school of hard knocks, and set up a system. But both of us, we don't have the people rely on us, but we give them system that they can set in place and be their own self-expert. And I truly, from the deepest of my heart, I truly consider this is a challenge for us to set it up first. But secondly, this is the only sort of system that really helps the people, right? Because if it would be so easy to just read a book, just do a weekend seminar, everybody would be perfect, right? Yeah, but it's not. Transformation is the hardest thing we can face, and we have to be ready and prepared for it. So the willing has to be there, and the willing is most of the time is there when we are so fed up with how things are in whatever field we look at. Could be any area of life, and then we say, "Oh, now I'm fed up. Now I'm gonna change," right? It's the same with diets, like you mentioned before. Well, overweightly person, maybe their doctor tells them, "Oh, you should lose some weight because it's unhealthy." That's well, studies show that, and but still, people don't transform because it's hard, right? So they don't want to get off the comfort zone and really take action. So, yeah. There's no gain without pain, right?
Absolutely. But what I figured out recently, look, I know that realistically, I myself and you yourself are not going to change the whole world. But my attitude is I'm only interested in people that resonate with my message. And I'm more, as a matter of fact, one of the things that I've recently done is 6 months ago, I started a certified training course because I realized this is not about Allan Knight. This is not about me. This is about the 9-step program. And I want to leave a legacy that's much bigger than me. And if I can have thousands of people around the world training people, and so when I'm long gone, the system is there. So I'm very excited about that. And if people go to my website, allanknight.com, which is really my main website. You talked about the Soulmate Revolution. That's just a one landing page for a separate program that we just started. But the main website is allanknight.com. And if you go to allanknight.com, you'll see a link called Be a Coach. So if there are people out there who either are coaches but don't have an existing program, or they seriously aspire to be a coach and resonate with the kind of work that we do, I'd like to have people all around the world in different cities, different countries, representing that course. So I just thought I would share that with you.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's great, Alan, because anyway, I will mention everything in the show notes. So I will put all the 3 topics and the websites and everything. So people might be on the run or not able to write. So I put everything there so they have a recap of the whole talk and all the links so they can find you. But especially making a bigger impact and leave a legacy. That's what I'm a fan of. Also, we share so many. That's why it was just yeah, just felt the attraction from coach to have your hair, and because it just resonates that much. So you two have just told us the system for coaches, right? So they could be the life coach after your system, name it your system. And because both of us, we realized, well, we there's so much work to do, and my one of my mentor, Christian Michelson, he always says, I'm on a mission. The world the world needs more coaches and needs to be coached. Yeah, because we face bigger and bigger struggles and obstacles out there, and we really need coaches, each and everybody, in special fields. And you had them, I had a lot of them, still work with some, and that's how we can improve our life, right? And
Absolutely.
we, both of us, leave a legacy in the system that we found out and teach to others. So it's not about us especially, but it's about our system that helps the people. So the system will live through other coaches we train after we are retired, or maybe it happened, right?
You know, it's funny, you know, you're mentioning, I agree with you 100%. And one thing that is probably of interest to talk about now is last night I was watching a YouTube documentary. You might have heard of a group in North America that is now in court. People are being indicted, some very famous people, because of a cult, a spiritual cult that was claiming to be a personal development cult, which had sex slaves. I don't know if you heard of it.
Just very far away, but I don't didn't dig deep. Please share
Okay.
with us.
Well, here's the thing that's so appropriate is that here's a group that started off with the right intention, but because of the leader had a lot of wisdom, and there was some really good information, even transformational. But then people got so obsessed, they got more and more committed to the group. And behind it was the leader, which happens in cults, where the leader wants control. And so there's a big difference between a cult leader who ultimately wants to have control because of their ego, and,
Yes.
a true spiritual advisor or guide that wants to help empower their student. So the student becomes empowered, not under the dictates of their control. And that's such an important thing, because there's too many people that become spiritually evolved, and there's the danger of ego getting in the way. And so I really caution your audience, whoever's listening, be careful who you're following.
Yeah.
Be very, very careful.
Yeah, that's an actual example, right? But there's of course a lot of manipulation also inside there, right? And it's not helpful to follow everybody. That's totally right? But we are talking just now, and things occur. But what I always love to point out is we don't have all areas in life, right, that we train. So it always makes sense to find a mentor that has done the transformation, him or herself, right?
Correct.
Like
Correct, for sure. We're walking the talk.
Yes. Because so many coaches out there, they become coach overnight, right? By reading a book or being on a seminar themselves, and then they decide to do it, right? Yeah. That's not what we talk of.
No.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people are getting certificates in a couple of months, and then they're a life coach.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
Yeah.
But that's what life is. But all we could do, my attitude is, all I could do, I can't really change all these people. I can only do what I'm meant to do in the world and trust that the people that resonate with my message will be there. And those that don't, that's fine. There are many other wonderful teachers in the world.
Yeah, that's the right attitude, and but well, the thing is, as a coach, there is no really need to have a certificate, right? Nobody is really asking for. So you could name yourself coach without having been on the coaching ever, right?
Exactly.
So me, I did, for example, I did a lot, but for example, I did 1.5 year quantum leap coaching with T. Half Acre, who is a phenomenal success coach and really overachiever, best-selling books and practicing yoga and he's a real master in all this field. But he sucked himself first, right? With 10 companies he tried to build up before he himself figured it out, right? And then, due to his own experience and mistakes he made, he found out the right way, and now he teaches it. He's not really on the stage any longer himself, but he had, and that's where I learned the legacy impact program there. That was with him. So modeling him like we learned it in the 1.5 year program, the trainership. I made my trainership with him, but I wouldn't even need the paper, right? I could just be here and sitting there and saying, well, I'm a coach, I do this and that, and that's it.
For sure.
There is no need to have a certificate, right? But I learned the whole system myself.
Yeah, you transformed yourself
over and over.
You were walking the talk.
Yes. And I'm sure that people, after a while, they can find out if it's just bluff or if the coach knows what he's talking about, because he has gone or she has gone through all that he is or she's talking herself, right? That's a whole lot different experience. That
the flaws will show up sooner or later. It's like a relationship. You meet, you fall in love, but then day after reality kicks in, the stuff starts to surface. The truth always comes out in some way or another. Yeah. And even with coaches, there's some great coaches out there that I personally have know now, but then the ego could easily get in the way, and some are very famous and some are well known and some are multimillionaires. That's why money by itself is not impressive to me, or the outward success is not always impressive to me. It's the inner first, and then if you take action with joy and love as opposed to ego-driven, fear-based sort of success-driven attitudes, to me that's much more important. And a lot of people don't take the time. Some are developed but don't humble themselves, because when there's fame and success comes to them, they start to buy into the fact that they're the next coming of Jesus, you know? And so you got to be very, very careful of that as well.
Yeah. You're just giving, we're like ping pong here, huh? We're just throwing the balls over and over. Yeah, because it's just like that. And it's a coach who doesn't walk the talk. It's just, he will not bring the clients out there or, to the point where they want to go, right? So it's a sort of a fake play, an illusion. What is necessary is a coach that comes from the foundation, to speak. Yes, he has or her has done it himself.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, of course, the coach, she must be willing to do the work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Transformation is not overnight. Everybody telling that is completely nonsense from my impression.
Right.
Because it's just not like that, and it's usually not really comfortable. But as you said in the beginning of the talk, if it's still comfortable there where you are, so it's sort of, oh, I might change, but oh, it's too hard. I don't want to take the pain and the salvation, um, what's coming out of it. Then people don't go through, right? They procrastinate. That's why procrastination comes up, and they don't, yeah, they just stop, and there's no end. And the end, after going through the transformation, the fulfillment is there, right?
Well, yeah, and sometimes when people ask me what are some of the most important things in self-development journey, some people would think that I would normally say positive thinking, which I don't. What I
Mm-hmm.
do focus on, the fact is that the challenges that I've had in my life have been more impactful on me than anything else. Like you okay with the microphone? You're okay?
Yeah, just realized it dropped down. Everything good.
Um, I would say that some of the most difficult times of my life have been much more significant in my own journey. Like I've had a number of very close calls with death on a number of, very close to dying. I've had people die around me, young people, older people. So death is but I use it as a constant reminder that
Mm-hmm.
when I wake up in the morning, I don't take one day for granted. 5 years
Yes.
ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and it was like a life-changing experience, but it's become, I'm controlling it really well, and I've never been happier. I've never been sort of healthier on a lot of levels, never been, because it forced me, or allowed it to force me to go to a much deeper level of soul and in my inner fitness exercises. So I've come out the other side in a place of inner freedom that I've never known before. So I use these challenges and obstacles in life to pick myself up by the bootstraps, which is really all about number 6 in my 9-step
Yeah.
process, to stay back in the zone, back in the spirit, living in the moment, and getting fed up to the point where I'm not interested, even if a negativity enters my mind. Thank you for sharing. Not really interested. Get back in the zone. I don't have
Yeah.
time for psychological and emotional trivial garbage to get in
Yes.
the way. But that's
Yeah.
because I use death, I use some of those negative things that have happened in my life as a trigger to get fed up with mediocrity and want to live my life more fully on every level. So I think sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that's more important than just positive thinking.
Yeah, I totally agree, Alan. I think those are the real wake-up calls, right, that we get. And I faced cancer 4 times, and the last one I already saw the other side, so I faced death and wasn't prepared to go yet. And so yeah, I had to transform, and if not, I wouldn't be talking to you here, right? So we
Neither of
really
us.
found a measurement and a tool, and by really digging deep with Parkinson, how, please tell us some sentences, maybe, if you want to, about that. That's amazing. So we really faced the challenges ourselves, and out of these struggles and obstacles, we found our way to the fulfillment side, right? Was it hard? Yes, it was, right? But it's doable. But it requires a strong will and self-discovery, right? Not distracting ourselves from media, from TV, from going out, from whatever, but really working on ourselves.
Yeah, and the result is so fulfilling because
Yes,
either we become a victim of the circumstance or
yeah,
we become a master of it. And if we
yes,
gain that level of inner freedom, we can just enjoy life, and we enjoy life for as many years as we have. There's no guarantees for any of us. But
yeah,
if we live each moment fully grateful, joyously as much as we
yeah,
can, what else can you ask for?
yeah,
It's the greatest thing in the world. I mean, I have multimillionaire friends that are on cocaine and trying to get out of a dysfunctional relationship. So
yes,
what are their millions of dollars doing for them? There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with making money. Again, going back to the spirit behind why you're making the money and how you're using the money and how you're living your life. That's the most important thing.
right. I think everybody can relate and agree that just having millions and being millionaire doesn't lead to inner freedom and fulfillment. Otherwise, nobody of the millionaires and sort of icons and stars, right, would commit suicide or whatever. There must be heaven where they are. They don't have no headache because of money,
You know,
right?
it's funny. It's funny, Ernest, with regard to that. About 2 months ago, I watched a whole bunch of documentaries on some of the most successful people in Hollywood in the past, in the
Mm-hmm.
1960s, 70s, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And almost every one of them ended with the story that when they died, they were not happy. And they were
Yes.
not happy because they never really knew themselves or really liked themselves. These are the people that were so good looking, they could have anybody they want. They had
Yes.
all the money in the world, yet they weren't happy with themselves. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's so sad on the other point, right?
Yeah, it's
Because
sad.
they have the money to buy everything, but money is not all. I would, if you would ask me, first would be discover myself, because I lost myself in all the struggles that I faced, being a single man with two companies and responsible for each and everything. Um, there's always a reason, right? If we face health issues and the symptoms, we of course we don't like them, right? But I came to the conclusion that the symptoms are not the enemy to us, but they are a friend. They try to
Correct.
tell us, take care, something going wrong here, right? It's just not too easy to understand them because they speak a whole other language, right? I got really obsessed with that because I had so many symptoms that I just wanted to figure out everything for myself before I bring it into a fruition here. Um, uh, that's the tricky part to find out what they want to tell us. So there have been times I was in the Oval Office on a big oval table with all my symptoms. So I had the health challenges, right? So there was the shoulder and this and that and whatever, the knee and whatever there was, my heart. And I had them on this oval table, all of them. There were times there were 12 people on this table. But
Wow.
everybody then firstly got heard and seen, right? And I really practiced that so much. And most of the issues are just gone. Yeah, but
Wow. No one.
before I was too busy to pay attention to it, right?
Right, right. You gave it the proper attention.
Yes, yes,
Fantastic. You have a great story.
yeah, yeah. Was it easy and comfortable at the time? My gosh, no, right? But it was what was needed.
Yeah, you had to do what you had to do.
Yes, and just by acknowledging what's going on, anyway it is, right? We can close the eye and say I don't want to see it, but it's still there and it's aching, or we face whatever is there and just bring it up to consciousness and do whatever healing is necessary. And what I found out is that, and that's how I turned and came to the self-expert field in my training here, is that the real healer is inside us, right? So it's not outside in the school medicine to cut things, to fix things. Normally there's not really something to fix. We just need to dig deep and to find out what the message behind is. And once we understand ourselves, it's not, I need to understand you, I understand you perfectly, right? But each and everybody of understanding him or herself and to discover the mission, what it could be so easy. I often say, well, what do you like to do? What do you love, right? So do more of that and do less of what you don't like, right? So
absolutely.
Otherwise we wouldn't be here on an Easter holiday. we love what we do and we enjoy being here and having such a fantastic talk, right? Others will be chilling outside. Yeah, just another possibility. So if you do what you love, we are still here, but it doesn't feel like that hard work, right? So
exactly.
Most people, they try to improve their disabilities and their sort of weakness. I don't think that's the way. I believe in finding out your potential and then to strengthen that and to do more of what feels good, what opens, what makes you feel bright and happy, and do less of what doesn't.
Exactly. I agree with you.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And we are both working really from digging deep to the fulfillment and the gift after doing the transformation and going through it is the inner fulfillment, right? That's
Absolutely.
when we don't show up outside needy for love, for happiness, for whatever, but we are just chilled in ourselves because, yeah, I don't need somebody to be happy or to be loved, right? And I learn to give it to myself, and I don't tolerate, this is another thing that comes out of it, I don't tolerate somebody treating me unlovingly, right? Like my ex-husband did.
Yeah,
so,
you stand up for yourself.
Yes, and I'm setting borders.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
But that
absolutely.
comes out of self-love.
Yeah. You got to believe in yourself enough to stand up and be appropriately confident and assertive in your communication when it's appropriate. A lot of people can't stand up for themselves because they're too afraid they're going to get rejected or they're not going to be liked or whatever the reason be. That's why I'm a big I don't know what I swallowed. That's why I'm a big believer that communication starts from the inside. 80% of communication, effective communication, comes from inside. So when you believe in yourself, you feel grounded, you feel good in your own skin, you feel confident, you're not so worried about what people think. Right. Then you're able to stand up in an appropriate way and communicate your truth when you have to do that.
Right. So for myself, I just make up my mind what is authentic to me, and if this is not, I say, well, thoughts that the ego still interferes from time to time. I do the same. I say thank you for sharing. And if I'm asked from somebody from the outside to do this or that, I watch how this feels like, and if it's authentic for me, yes, that's okay. If it's not, I will say no. What I never did in former times. Actually, I had to learn to say no and set borders.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're a good role model.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, but I learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look bad, you're always cleverer, more clever. How is it said?
Smarter.
Smarter than being in the situation, right? So afterwards, we always know better. That's just how it is. But to be not to beat ourselves up, not to self-sabotage, which I consider a big part in that, and to be okay with what was, right, and to release the grief and the anger and everything out of that. That's a big part in our systems, right?
Right.
And without that work, it's just not possible.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Thank you. So the time is passing so quick, Allan. We had just an amazing talk. Did we cover everything, or do you want to add something? So you, if you want, I just invite you on the talk here for another talk for the other topics, because we cannot put everything together. That will overload our Fly Nation listeners out there. So we covered the Soulmate system here today, which is a Soulmate. Just the name, how you named it, implements so much on the soulmate, right? To finding a soulmate. But your intention was to be yourself the best soulmate.
Well, I think when it comes to the Soulmate Revolution, often people ask me, Allan, do we only have one soulmate? I believe we have many soulmates. We have friend soulmates, business soulmates, family soulmates, but we also have twin souls or romantic soulmates. And my attitude, the Soulmate Revolution, the focus is on the soulmate, on the romantic soulmate, partly because when people are up at night not sleeping, they're not saying, I wish I met my business soulmate. You know, most people are not up at night thinking like that. They're thinking, I would like to have my partner for life. The reality is that when you go through the process of tapping into your own inner soulmate, which is the foundation of our training, then you're going to meet wonderful heart-centered relationships on many levels, including different soulmates, but it's also going to augment the process of drawing in that romantic soulmate. So there's many benefits. You get tapped with your inner soulmate, you attract other heart-centered relationships, and ultimately you fast track and speed up the process of attracting your true partner that you're looking for. That's the essence of the Soulmate Revolution. And if enough people, my goal in the next 10 years is to help facilitate 100,000 soulmates coming together, because if you have that level of quality relationship, you're going to have better families, better communities, and that could change the world very significantly. So that's my commitment to the Soulmate Revolution.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Maybe we should think on that, on doing a joint venture there.
Well, we could definitely talk about that.
Popping up to my mind.
Absolutely. And if anyone out there wants to access the 9 steps, if they go to allanknight.com, there's a button there that says access the 9 steps. You could get a little overview sent to you, 2-minute video every second day. So you're going to get familiarized with what the 9 steps are.
Yeah,
and anybody who's interested in my training, you can request a complimentary assessment and evaluation, and we'll see if there's a fit between you and I in either the social mastery program I have or the Soulmate Revolution. Either one works. So you could access that through my website.
Right, that's brilliant. I will, as being told, I will mention that, and we will be talking on the joint venture there. I just have I'm very empathic and very highly sensitive, so I'm not that much of a big thinker. I just feel it, right?
Look forward to chatting with you about it.
Yeah, and that's what I just popped up. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Allan, for your time and being here and inspiring me and Fly Nation here with everything you told.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Look forward to chatting with you real soon.
We'll do that again, Allan. That was so amazing, right?
Thank you so much.
Greetings to my beloved town, Vancouver, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
I'm very grateful.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening in. I hope you got new inspiration to seek help and surrender to love no matter what situation you're in. Hopefully you could take away that transformation is possible. By getting the right support, you can embrace life joyfully and enjoy your life on your own authentic terms. Please rate and review the Freestyle Your Life podcast on freestyle-your-life.com/podcast if you like today's talk, and make sure you qualify for the amazing I Love the Fly podcast giveaway by subscribing and referring 3 friends to the Freestyle Your Life podcast. All experts and myself are happy to assist and support you. Just reach out to us. Thanks for joining us today, and don't forget to tune in next Thursday and listen in to your next inspiration on how to freestyle your life. You'll learn another priceless shortcut on how to break free and restyle your life on your own authentic terms. Becoming authentically you will ease your life and business. Remember, Fly Nation, break free and fly. Looking forward to talk to you next Thursday. Bye.